Lily's sleepover surprise. Lily bounced on the balls of her feet, backpack nearly vibrating off her small shoulders. The firehouse doors loomed large, smelling of rubber and something metallic she couldn't quite place. She gripped her mom's hand tighter, a nervous flutter in her stomach. "Go on, sweet pea," her mom signed, giving her a gentle nudge. "Uncle Leo's waiting." Taking a deep breath, Lily marched forward. As soon as she stepped inside, a booming lillipad echoed through the bay. Uncle Leo, a mountain of a man in his Navy station uniform, scooped her up in a hug that squeezed the air from her lungs, but in a good way. "Uncle Leo," she signed back, her fingers flying. "Zoo tomorrow. Monkeys. Elephants." He ruffled her hair, his smile wide. "That's right. Biggest zoo adventure ever. Did you bring your camera?" She nodded enthusiastically, pointing to her backpack. The excitement bubbled up again, but a little wrinkle appeared on her brow. She pulled on his sleeve, signing slowly and deliberately. "Sleep. Hard. Here. Alarm. Worry." Leo knelt, his eyes level with hers. He took her hands, his touch reassuring. "Lily, don't you worry about a thing. I promise you will not miss the zoo. I have a plan. A super secret, firefighter-approved plan." He winked. "Trust me. You'll be awake and ready to go before the sun even thinks about getting up." Lily chewed on her lip, considering. Uncle Leo was strong and brave and knew how to fix everything. If he said he had a plan, then maybe, just maybe, she wouldn't sleep through the entire trip. She gave him a small, hesitant smile, relief washing over her. "Okay," she signed. "Trust." The HOA's cold shoulder. Leo found Mrs. Crabtree tending her petunias, a fortress of pink and purple against the manicured green of her lawn. He took a deep breath and approached, plastering on his most charming smile. "Mrs. Crabtree, good morning. Beautiful blooms you've got there." She snipped a deadhead with vicious precision, her gaze cool. "Mr. Maxwell, to what do I owe the pleasure?" He explained about Lily, about her deafness, and the urgent need for a visual alarm system. He even sketched a quick diagram in the dirt with his shoe, showing how discreetly a strobe could be placed above the door. Mrs. Crabtree remained unmoved. "I understand your familial concerns, Mr. Maxwell. However, Section 3, Paragraph 17, Subsection B of the HOA bylaws clearly states that no external alterations, additions, or embellishments are permitted without express written consent and adherence to strict aesthetic guidelines. A flashing light, regardless of its purpose, would be considered a blight on community aesthetics. But it's for her safety." Leo's voice rose slightly. He could feel the familiar prickle of frustration behind his eyes. "What's more important, a perfectly uniform facade or my niece's life?" Mrs. Crabtree straightened, her chin lifting a fraction. "The HOA exists to maintain property values and community standards, Mr. Maxwell. We cannot make exceptions based on individual circumstances. I suggest you explore alternative solutions that comply with existing regulations." She turned back to her petunias, the dismissal clear. Leo clenched his fists, the dirt crumbling beneath his shoes. He knew this wasn't over. Vibrating worries. Leo gently slipped the first vibrating alarm, a small disc buzzing softly beneath Lily's pillow. For added measure, he tucked a second one under the mattress where she usually lay. The image of dancing flames, the stark terror in her gaze, remained stubbornly fixed in his mind. He couldn't afford to take chances. He programmed the alarms for 6:30 a.m. offset by a single minute, then activated the test function on each. The pillow throbbed urgently against his open hand, a deep, resonant pulse. Surely, even in the deepest slumber, Lily would notice. Still, a coil of worry tightened its grip. What if it wasn't enough? What if the blaze erupted with terrifying speed? He began to circle the cramped space, gnawing at his nail. Perhaps something stronger? He recalled the piercing wail of the Firehouse siren, a sound capable of jolting the most profound sleeper awake. As a child, he despised it, the way it reverberated through the house, setting his teeth on edge. But now it loomed as a final, desperate measure against the looming threat. He eyed the discreet control panel concealed at the rear of his closet, a leftover from his time as a volunteer. It offered a direct line to the station's alert system. He prayed he wouldn't be forced to use it. Smoke signals. Leo stirred. Not from a dream, but a prickling unease. He sniffed. Acrid. Like burnt plastic, but heavier. He nudged Lily gently. "Hey, wake up. Do you smell that?" Lily mumbled, burrowing deeper under the covers. "Smells like Tuesday?" Leo threw back the duvet. The hallway was darker than it should be, the air thick with a gray haze that caught the moonlight slanting through the window. He coughed, the smell now undeniably smoke. He padded to the front door, peering through the peephole. Nothing. Then he glanced to the side. Mrs. Henderson's kitchen window glowed with an orange, flickering light. "Lily, get up. Now." Leo's voice was sharp, the easygoing tone gone. He grabbed her arm, pulling her upright. "Fire. Next door." Lily was instantly alert, her eyes wide. "Mrs. Henderson?" Leo didn't answer, already dialing 911. He rattled off their address, then Mrs. Henderson's, his voice tight with urgency. He slammed the phone down. The smoke was getting thicker, stinging his eyes. He grabbed 2 damp towels from the bathroom, handing one to Lily. "Wet it, put it over your face. We need to get out." He pounded on Mrs. Henderson's door, yelling her name, but there was no response. The orange glow in the window intensified, accompanied by the faint crackle of flames. It wasn't just a pan on the stove anymore. Unheard danger. Lily dreamt of giraffes. Their long necks stretched to nibble at cotton candy clouds, their gentle eyes blinking with amusement as she offered them lollipops the size of her head. The zoo was bathed in a golden, syrupy light, the air thick with the sweet scent of popcorn and possibility. She giggled, a sound lost in the happy chaos of her dream. Beside her bed, the vibrating alarm clock thrummed, a frantic, silent scream against the stillness of the room. Its insistent buzzing traveled through the mattress, shaking the frame, a desperate plea lost against the deep slumber of a child. Lily remained undisturbed, her smile unwavering, lost in the whimsical world of her dream. Across the thin wall separating their apartments, Mrs. Henderson's smoke alarm began to shriek, a piercing, relentless wail that echoed through the building. The shrill cry cut through the thick silence of the hallway, a desperate warning of unseen danger. But Lily heard nothing. The sound, so jarring to others, was as muted as the rustling of leaves in a silent forest, powerless to penetrate the soundproof barrier of her deafness. The scent of burning plastic, acrid and sharp, began to snake its way under Lily's door, a silent predator stalking its unsuspecting prey. Awakened by smoke, Leo coughed, a harsh, rattling sound that tore him from sleep. The air was thick, acrid, stinging his nostrils. Smoke. His eyes snapped open, blurring for a disoriented second before focusing on the orange glow licking the bottom of the bedroom door. Fire. Panic seized him, cold and sharp. He threw back the covers, the wool blankets suddenly feeling like lead weights. Lily. He scrambled out of bed, ignoring the grit of ash already coating the floor beneath his bare feet. His heart hammered against his ribs, a frantic drumbeat urging him onward. He reached Lily's door in 3 long strides. The hallway was worse, a swirling gray fog that made him cough again. He pushed into her room. Lily was still asleep, her chest rising and falling gently, oblivious to the danger. A stuffed giraffe lay nestled beside her, its button eyes staring blankly ahead. "Lily, wake up!" His voice was hoarse, strained. He grabbed her shoulder, shaking her gently at first, then more urgently when she didn't respond. "Lily, please. We have to go." Her brow furrowed, but she remained stubbornly unresponsive. He shook her again, harder this time, desperation clawing at his throat. "Lily." Fire. The word hung in the smoky air, useless, unheard. Her deafness, usually just an inconvenience, now felt like a cruel curse. He couldn't wake her. The siren's call. His lungs burned, each gasp a ragged prayer. The firehouse loomed, a beacon of hope against the encroaching dread. Leo slammed the heavy door open, the clang echoing in the sudden stillness after the frantic run. No one was on duty, a skeleton crew tonight. Good. Less explaining to do. He vaulted over the low barrier, adrenaline coursing through him. The siren controls were familiar, almost comforting in their stark functionality. His fingers danced over the panel, flipping switches, bypassing safety protocols. He cranked the directional lever, aiming the colossal speaker array towards his street, towards his house. Lily. A low whine built, rising exponentially into an ear-splitting shriek that vibrated through the floor and up his spine. The siren's call. Deafening, raw, primal. It tore through the night. An unholy scream designed to pierce the deepest slumber, to shatter glass, to stop hearts. It was beautiful. He pictured Lily, the vibrations hitting her chest, the flashing lights strobing across her face. He prayed she'd understand, that she'd react. Every second felt like an eternity stretching into a vast, empty void. He held his breath, listening for any change, any sign from the house. The siren wailed on, a mechanical banshee screaming its warning. His warning, awakened by light. The world exploded in a cacophony of vibrations and strobing light. Lily bolted upright, her heart hammering against her ribs like a trapped bird. The siren's wail, amplified to an almost unbearable pitch, seemed to claw at the inside of her skull. Her throat felt thick, clogged with a fear she couldn't name. Disoriented, she swiveled in the bed, her eyes struggling to focus in the chaotic flashing. Shadows danced on the walls, morphing familiar shapes into monstrous figures. What was happening? Had she been dreaming? Then she saw it. Through the gap in the curtains, a pulsating, angry red bathed the room. It wasn't just the alarm, it was coming from outside. A fire engine. More than one, she thought, judging by the fractured glimpses of flashing lights painting the houses across the street. Panic clawed its way up her throat. Fire! The word slammed into her consciousness, obliterating the last vestiges of sleep. Something was wrong. Terribly, horribly wrong. She scrambled out of bed, her bare feet hitting the cold floor with a jolt. Compassion found. Smoke stung Leo's eyes, each breath a ragged cough. He tightened his grip on Lily, her small body limp against his chest. The heat intensified as he stumbled through the living room, flames licking at the curtains. Outside, the first wail of sirens pierced the smoky haze. He burst through the front door just as the first fire truck screeched to a halt. Firefighters in full gear leaped out, faces grim. He knelt on the lawn, gently lowering Lily to the grass. She coughed, her eyes fluttering open, dazed. Leo? Mrs. Crabtree stood on her manicured lawn, her face a mask of horrified disbelief. The orange glow danced in her wide eyes, reflecting a chaos that shattered the pristine order she so fiercely protected. She watched as paramedics rushed to Lily's side, their movements precise and efficient. Her mouth worked, but no sound came out. Later, after the embers had cooled and the fire marshal had finished his investigation, Leo stood with Lily, watching a technician install a new, state-of-the-art flashing alarm system. The vibrant strobe pulsed, a beacon of safety in the twilight. Mrs. Crabtree approached, her shoulders slumped. Leon, she began, her voice trembling. Lily, I was wrong, terribly wrong. She gestured toward the alarm, her gaze fixed on the flashing light. I should have listened. I am deeply sorry. A tear traced a path through the soot on her cheek. Anything you need. Lily, clutching Leo's hand, gave a small, hesitant smile. Thank you, Mrs. Crabtree.